Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be taking the 16 Personalities quiz as the main character of my graphic novel, Sam in New York, who is Sam Abramov. So let's take a look. I know he's extroverted, but we need to know exactly what personality type he is. So let's take a look at the questions and we will start looking at what kind of personality type fits him the best. You regularly make new friends. Absolutely, Sam would say. He always makes new friends. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. Sort of. I mean, mostly it's just, stuff about entertainment and selling himself to a wider audience. He's mostly just exploring random topics that pertain to his topic of interest, which is, the entertainment industry, how to sell products and himself and how to get his stuff out there. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Yes. No, actually no. He doesn't really care. I think he's pretty detached in that way. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. Does he have a lot of backup plans? Not really. I think he's a little bit spontaneous, but at the same time, he does have some backup plans. So I would say he is a small agree. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. True. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. Disagree. He loves talking to new people. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Not really. Sam's kind of disorganized sometimes. You are very sentimental. No, he's not sentimental. Even though he is very sociable, he is not sentimental. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. No, he has it in his head. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Disagree. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Absolutely. That's what Sam's all about. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analyses of creative works. Disagree. He likes analyzing them. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Disagree for the most part. He likes to follow his heart because otherwise he would still be in law school. He would be there to, get a so-called stable career. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. True. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on the people you make. Yeah, he doesn't care. I mean, he thinks he always makes a good impression, so he doesn't worry about it. You enjoy participating in group activities? Absolutely. You like movies and books that make you come up with your own interpretation? Yep, Sam loves that. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish than your own accomplishments. No. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. No. He knows what he wants to do, which is to become an actor and filmmaker. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. No, he's pretty optimistic for the most part. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Disagree. He likes leadership. You are definitely not an artistic person. Disagree. He sees himself as artistic. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. Small agree. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. No, he's a bit lazy. And unfortunately, his parents spoil him, so they end up doing a lot of the chores. You enjoy watching people argue, absolutely. He loves seeing people get owned by someone. He likes to see Joel debate with other people and get defeated. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Disagree. He loves drawing attention to himself. Your mood can change very quickly. Disagree. He's good at manipulating his own mood. So even if he feels bad, he's going to put up a happy face. This is what he thinks, you have to do to be polite and, of course, to make a good impression on people. I mean, of course, you can be very naked about your feelings, but that could give people a bad impression, especially if you're not feeling well. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Agree. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Not quite. In the middle, I guess. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. No, he's an atheist, so he doesn't really care. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. True. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. No. You would find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. I guess it depends on the person's personality and whether Sam likes them. Yeah, I guess. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. No, he's pretty instantaneous when it comes to decision making. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Yes. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. Absolutely. Sam loves parties. You enjoy going to art museums. Yes. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Sometimes he does. He doesn't understand Joel that well because he's very different from him, and Malka. You like to have a to-do list for every day, inside his head, so not quite. You rarely feel insecure. Yes. You avoid making phone calls. No, he loves phone calls. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I wouldn't say he does. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Yes. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Yes. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. No. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. He thinks about them, but not as much as Joel. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Disagree. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it is completely their fault. Not really. I think Sam kind of thinks that the person deserves it. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Sort of. But he does also make organized and consistent efforts, or otherwise he'll never get to his goals, he thinks. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take for them to feel disappointed in you. Disagree. Sam doesn't think he disappoints anyone. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. No, he would hate it. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Sometimes he thinks it does. I think he's neutral. I think it depends on who's doing the pondering. If it's Joel, then it's, of course, a waste of time and it's narcissistic. But if it's himself or his father, then it's fine. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres. Yes. He's a New Yorker through and through. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Yeah, for the most part. You often feel overwhelmed. Disagree. He rarely does. He always wants to be overwhelmed. So he always feels underwhelmed. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Disagree. He loves skipping steps. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Definitely. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone needed it more. It depends on how much he likes this person. You struggle with deadlines. No. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Absolutely. He is an ENTP-A, a debater. Extroverted, 98%. Okay, obviously. Energy, 65%. Intuitive, 71%. Sorry, nature, 71%. Thinking. Tactics, 53% prospecting, identity, 93% assertive. That makes a lot of sense. So let's read the profile. No, thank you. Quick-witted and audacious, debaters aren't afraid to disagree with the status quo. In fact, they're not afraid to disagree with pretty much anything or anyone. Verbal sparring, that sounds more like Joel. But I think it's true that he kind of is, but at the same time, I wouldn't call him a debater. He's the ultimate devil's advocate. Okay, that sounds more like Joel. Thriving on the process of shredding arguments and beliefs? Not quite, no. He is rebellious, but I don't think he sees himself as someone who always wants to be right. Nor is Sam a devil's advocate, I don't think. That's true. He does think that most people are too ready to do as they're told and blindly conform to social norms, pressures, and standards. The cost of contrarianism. Capacity for debate. I disagree with this. I don't think he is a debater. I mean, yes, he is rebellious, but I would not call him a debater. And he doesn't really care about winning arguments. That's more of a Joel thing. Knowledgeable, quick thinker, that's true. Original, definitely. Excellent brainstormers, charismatic, energetic, that's true. These are all of his traits. Very argumentative. No, Sam's not very argumentative. This is Joel. This whole paragraph is Joel. Insensitive. No, Sam's not that insensitive. Only sometimes, but he's mostly pretty sensitive to other people's feelings. Intolerant. Okay, this all sounds like Joel. All of these negative traits are Joel. Dislikes practical matters. No, Sam is pretty practical. I mean, he thinks that if you're not practical, you won't be able to get anywhere. Okay, let's look at romance. Test their partner's limits for this kind of potential. Pushing boundaries and traditions. Looking for open-mindedness and spontaneity. That's true. Sam does like open-mindedness and spontaneity, but I don't think he necessarily tests for them. No, this sounds more like Joel. Okay, debaters' idea of fun is often rooted in self-improvement, and people with this personality type bring their partners along the way. This sounds more like Joel. I think this website confused Joel with Sam. This is like the extroverted version of Joel. It doesn't feel like Sam. The last thing people with the debater personality type want to hear is, "You're right," not unless they have absolutely earned the distinction. No, this sounds another Joel thing. No, Sam is pretty relaxed. He doesn't care about that. Naturally engaged and interested in being productive and helpful. Gift of curiosity. That's true. An independent spirit. He does have that, but has a different emphasis. He's not really doing it to prove a point or to be right. He's doing it because he likes having fun, which is unlike Joel. Joel's the one obsessed with being right. Workplace habits. Strong believers in meritocracy. That's true. Sam is a strong believer in meritocracy. Armed with a powerful intellect and vivid imagination, debaters can overcome or outmaneuver obstacles that seem unbeatable to most. Unconstrained rationalism? No, that's Joel. Sam is not an unconstrained rationalist. He's pretty practical and down to earth. I disagree. I don't think this is a good result for Sam. Sure, he is extroverted. And I would say that he is intuitive. Probably thinking over feeling. But I don't think he's a debater. But yeah, that's what Sam is according to this site, and I don't think it's a very good representation of him. All right,